Hi everyone, good morning. I hope everything is okay. I hope you guys are okay. Sorry for the delay. I had some problems here with my computer. It's always it's always like that. It's always this last minute things that happens that you weren't expecting them to happen. But I hope everything is okay and you guys can hear me okay and also can see me. I just want to look at my phone here just to make sure it's working and everything is fine. But if you guys can just give me a sign here just to say that it's working and you guys can hear me. I believe so. Oh, good. Okay, thank you so much, Leandro. And again, I'm sorry, guys, um, for this little bump in the road. um, I believe most of you know me, but for those who doesn't know me, my name is Samanta Alves. I am a volunteer in the Spiritual Center of Ireland, and I work in the center for about 7 years. Um, I am Brazilian, but I currently live in Ireland, so I am today broadcasting from Dublin in Ireland. Today we are going to talk about coping resources for anxiety and depression. I know it is a hard topic. I know it's kind of a down topic, a difficult topic, but and I actually think it's probably the third time that I'm talking about it um, in one of our public meetings and gatherings. But I think it's such an important topic, and there's so much going on at the moment. Like every time I talk to people, I see that um, like they're going through some difficulties. They're having a difficult time, and I think it is important to always talk about this subject and don't be shy, um, because if we sweep things under the carpet, they actually come back and bite us. So we need to really express our feelings and find ways, actually most importantly even try and find ways of coping with them. So i I think that spiritism has a brilliant framework to help us, and I'll try and explore some of those things today. But first things first, let's do our initial prayer before we start. um, and I will also share my screen, so if you guys can let me know if you see my screen and everything is fine. So um, if you can close your eyes, let's do let's take a deep breath. Let's raise our thoughts to Jesus, to our spiritual friends, to our mentors, and to our great God. Let's ask them to help us this morning, to help us say and listen to the right things, to help us understand what they want us to understand, to help that we can open our minds for their teachings, and even more than that, that we can apply those things to our daily lives so we can improve, so we can become better people, better citizens, and better spirits. So be it. Okay, so before we start, I just wanted to say that I'm not a subject matter expert on anything in terms of anxiety, depression, or even spiritism. I am a psychologist, but I never worked with psychology as such. and I always worked with human resources in companies. Um, Also, I am, or I try to be, a good student of spiritism. So the idea is just to share some of my findings with you here today. So if there's anything you ask and I don't know or anything like that, I can take a note and I can come back to you later if that works. But the idea is not to explore anxiety or depression so much. We are going to contextualize it a little bit, but I just wanted to talk about spiritism and how spiritism can empower us to deal with those things. Um, so, to start, I just want to read the Gospel according to Spiritism. We are going to use this book mostly today. And if you go to chapter 6, chapter 6 is um, the the consoling Christ. And if you go to page 132 in this book, you might have another version, but this one is page 132, item 7. It says, I am the great doctor of souls, and I have come to bring you the medicine that shall heal them. The frail, the suffering, and the infirm are my blessed children, and I have come to save them. Therefore, come to me, you who suffer and who are overburdened, and you will be soothed and consoled. Do not look elsewhere for strength and consolation, for the world is unable to provide them. God makes a supreme appeal to your hearts through Spiritism. Listen to it. May impiety, deceit, error, and disbelief be uprooted from your aching souls. They are the monsters that suck your purest blood, and which nearly always wound you mortally. In the future, humble and submissive to your Creator, may you practice His divine law, love and pray. Be docile before the spirits of the Lord. Invoke Him from the depths of your heart, and then He will send you His beloved Son to teach you and say these good words: I am here. I have come to you because you have called me. So it's from the letter, The Spirit of Truth, Truth, Bordeaux, 1861. I think this reading is pretty enlightening, especially at this moment, and it sets the tone for today. But before we go any further with Spiritism, let's conceptualize anxiety and depression very quickly, because I think it is important so you know exactly what we are talking about. Now, anxiety, as we find in the dictionary, is a feeling of worry. It's nervousness, or unease about something with an uncertain outcome. It is a strong desire or concern to do something or for something to happen. Anxiety is an emotion characterized by feelings of tension, worried thoughts, physical changes like increased blood pressure. So it's very common, and an example of anxiety is basically just what I'm feeling now. So I'm kind of nervous about giving this talk. I don't know exactly how it's going to go. I feel this increase in my heart rate, but this is all normal. These are natural reactions of our body, and it's just what makes us human. It's okay to feel anxious, um, but it becomes a little bit complicated when it becomes when it goes over um, this healthy rate, and it becomes an anxiety disorder, or it develops further. So people with anxiety disorders usually have recurring intrusive thoughts or concerns. They may avoid certain situations out of worry. It impairs them of doing normal things in life, like working, or even having relationships. So um, it's a hard thing to deal with, and it becomes overwhelming for these people. Depression then is a mood disorder that causes a persistent feeling of sadness and loss of interest. Now, it's also important to say here that sometimes we in our lives we say we are depressed, but we are actually very sad, and there is a difference there. Depression, as such, would be a almost like a disease. Um, so when we are sad, we could be, um, how can I say that? We could be, um, that is a word. Well, it's just this in, it's just this sadness that we are feeling. It's not exactly depression, um, but all we can say is lightly depressed, and but it's not exactly depression, because depression is a serious disease. Um, so it affects how you feel, how you think, how you behave. It can lead to a variety of emotional and physical problems. It can interfere with your personal life. It can cause long lasting and severe feelings of sadness, hopelessness, and loss of interest in activities. It can also cause physical symptoms of pain, appetite changes, and sleep problems. Now, I'm talking about the two of them today because a lot of times they walk hand in hand, and anxiety can lead to depression or even suicide. And it's a pretty serious thing. Feelings of anxiety can be caused by lots of things and vary, um, and they vary. So they vary according to what you're worried about and how you act when you feel apprehensive. They depend on lots of things, such as your genes, how you were brought up, what's happening to you in your life, the way you learn and cope with things. So there's no one, uh, most of times there's no one specific cause, and not always it's easy to identify the cause of your anxiety. It could be because of many things, but most important than knowing where it comes from is how to deal with it. So it's easier to find ways of dealing with it than then trying to find the cause itself. And if you go to the World Health Organization website, you'll find that anxiety disorder rates are increasing every year. The last information that I found stated that 4.5% of people in the world have anxiety disorder. So then, anxiety disorder, same as I was talking about depression, it's a disease as well. It's not the normal day life anxiety that we feel. You know, it's something bigger than that. It's something that actually makes it difficult for you to carry out your normal things in life. Now, as I was saying, 4.5% of people in the world have anxiety disorders. So, considering that the world population is around 7.8 billion, there are about 350 million people with anxiety disorder in the world. Now, think of it this way: in Ireland, we have about 5 million people, right? So, it's like 70 times the population of Ireland. It's a whole lot of people. And notice that I'm specifically talking about anxiety disorder, as I said. I'm not talking about common anxiety that affects all of us. And that is why it's so important to talk about this and to try and find ways to cope. Anxiety is a type of fear usually associated with a perceived threat or something going on or something going wrong in the future. But it can also arise from something happening right now. And that is the point of talking about it today. A lot is going on in the world that is making us all very, very anxious and sad. And I wouldn't know how many of us exactly feel affected by it or seriously affected by it. But from what I see talking to people, it seems very generalized at the moment. So that is why I'm revisiting this theme today, and I would like to try and explore some ways or some resources Spiritism offers us that can help us develop coping mechanisms that can help us go through these moments in life. The way you cope or handle things has a direct impact on how much anxiety or depression you are experiencing. And if you tweak the way you're coping, then you can lower your anxiety and be in a much better position to pass through these difficult moments. A study from or at the University of Cambridge showed that people who had faced extreme circumstances, who had faced adversity, been through wars and natural disasters, if they had coping resources, they remained healthy and free of mental disorders, while others facing the same hardship but without coping skills went on a downward spiral and developed mental disorders. I think this is so interesting. You can develop these coping resources or coping skills on your own through the things that you do, and you can take charge of your anxiety and lower it, which I think is very empowering. Now, I'm not saying it's easy. Hard things are hard, and I'm trying to find answers myself as well. And because, like you, I'm also affected by a lot of what's going on, not only in the world, but in my personal life as well. So we all have our challenges. So I just wanted to talk to you about some findings or about how I find that Spiritism can provide us with the framework that help us cope with everyday stress. Being a spiritist help us feel connected to something bigger than ourselves. That's how I see it. So, what are some of these coping resources and how can we use them to return our anxiety to a normal, healthy level? Now, um, in the first place, I believe that we need to talk about resignation. Resignation is the attitude of someone who accepts that something unpleasant must happen and that they cannot change it. So many people complain in the face of life's difficulties, which represents consciously or unconsciously a revolt against God. It is as if they said, I do not deserve the obstacles, the tests that I am experiencing, that God is being unfair to me. Now, Spiritism will show us that this is a mistaken form of view that is natural based on our condition on this existence, this corporeal existence. But as we spiritists know, we were created simple and ignorant, but aiming to become wise and benevolent in the course of time. God, who loves us, in addition to having given us conscience, intelligence, reason, free will, cyclically provides us with reincarnatory programs. Each reincarnation is carefully prepared by spiritual benefactors with the participation of the spirit who will reincarnate most of the times if they are prepared. for it. So if it is already able to do so, as I'm saying, the programming takes into account, among other aspects, the side of what the spirit did or did not do in previous physical existence or existences, and the side of what at the present moment it is most useful for its spiritual development in the direction of incessant progress. So life's challenges, tests, as well as atonements, therefore, have the purpose of serving the evolution of each one of us, not representing God's dislike for us, but on the contrary, love and mercy, love for the what He Himself created, which is us, and mercy for our mistakes. So each reincarnated spirit, therefore, is in the best place and in the best situation to face circumstances that, if well reserved, will represent an addition to their values and their spiritual baggage. So in the Spirit's book, the Gospel according to Spiritism, chapter 5, um, chapter 5, item 12. It's page 104 again of the book that I'm showing. So item 12 says, with the words, "Blessed are the afflicted, for they shall be consoled," Jesus indicates simultaneously the compensation that awaits those who suffer and the resignation that leads one to bless sufferings as a prelude to healing. Those words could also be translated like this: you should consider yourselves fortunate to suffer, because your pains in this world are the debt of your past wrongs, and these pains, if borne patiently while you are on earth, will save you from centuries of suffering in the future life. Hence, you should be happy because God has reduced your debt by permitting you to repay it now, which will guarantee your tranquility for the future. So, the Spirit, with their reasoned faith, can therefore understanding the mechanisms of tests and atonements in the context of their own progress, endure a difficulty with resignation, without complaining, in the face of certain challenges, be they of material, spiritual, or moral order. So, why worry about the future? The answer to this question depends on the worldview of each one of us. If we are attached to the matter, we may want to enjoy it today. On the contrary, however, if our worldview is more spiritualistic, we will look at things from another angle. And it's interesting to think about it because, for example, I also have my difficult moments, of course, and even when I'm going through those difficult moments, I never think about killing myself. I actually never thought about killing myself, and it's a very important thing. I would not do it to me because I know the consequences, and also I understand that it's not a solution to my problems. So that's how I think Spiritism is so empowering. You know, it sets you in the right way, and it's just my own opinion, of course, and I'm just giving you an example. So when we look at our earthly problems from a spiritual point of view, they begin to lose their intensity, their relative value. This observation is equivalent to going up a mountain and looking down from there. Everything seems in small size if you are up there looking down. So the one who values the spirit more than the flesh does so. This individual can go through all kinds of difficulties and remain calm, patient, even thanking God for their suffering, as they see it as a way to activate their spiritual evolution. Now, it does not mean that they should fold their arms or that everything that happens is okay. You see, there's a tiny line between what we should accept and what we should strive for. It only means that they will have as their mantra, I will seek to modify for the best everything within my reach, but I will resign myself to what I cannot change. So let us remember the serenity prayer in which we ask God serenity to accept the things that we cannot change, courage to modify those that we can change, and wisdom to distinguish one from the other. And it seems important to me to consider that Spiritism places us in the world in a very assertive way. Spiritism shows us that whatever we are facing on earth is just a temporary condition, that we are part of this flow of things to learn and to become better. But we are, in fact, immortal beings and we will always exist. So it eliminates a degree of worry right there. With that in mind, much of our future becomes clearer. Also, we will not only always exist, but we will be better in the future, as already mentioned, and as explained by the law of evolution. That is also one of the basic principles of the Spiritism doctrine. We never go back, we are just going forward, and it's guaranteed. So I do not have to be afraid or concerned about my future because I will be better tomorrow than I am today. And in that way, this affirmation just for itself give me even more clarity to see the situation as an opportunity to evolve. So, okay, we need to evolve. We get that. But a lot of times we get very anxious and very harsh on ourselves when it comes to that because we see ourselves as far, far, far away from what we should be, and it's somehow disencouraging. So it's like we look at people like um, um, Chico Xavier, and we think he is so developed, and I'm so far away from it. Um, so why bother trying to change? Because I'm not going to get there anyway, or not now, or not even in this life. So I'm simple and ignorant, and I'm going to stay like this because it's not worth um, doing the job to get there, or it's too difficult, or something like this. However, according to Spiritism, we need to respect the process. And we have the body, the skill set, the parents that we designed to help us on our mission of overcoming our limitations. So, in that sense, we can connect in a more pure, accepting, loving way to our own being, just the way we are right now. So no need to be anxious or to change completely overnight, just to gradually improve, building up from where we are now as we are here to have the experiences that will enrich us. And for these experiences to be beneficial to us, we must live each one of them at their own time, in the present, in a simple way, just the way they present themselves, and not wanting to um, not wanting the outcome before going through the process. So nature has many examples to show how much the process is important. So imagine if you see a chrysalis of a butterfly and you think, poor little thing, trying to spread wings, but having this thing around them, impeding them to fly. And then you see this and you think, let me help and break this thing for for them. Or then what happens? The butterfly falls down. And why? Because they are not ready to fly yet. They were going through their process. And that thing that is around them, they struggle against it. And that is called pupa. And is actually what makes their wings strong enough to fly. So if they don't go through this process, they won't be able to fly. And that is exactly what they are, why they are so beautiful, because they transform themselves from this creeping larva to a wonderful, colorful flying animal. And we can use that analogy for ourselves. Spiritism will also say that we can rely more on ourselves. As Jesus said, we are God's, the salt of the earth. We are God's children and Jesus' brothers. Then all this matter of self-essential deep image helps us to see us as we really are, intelligent beings of the universe, created by God. Um, Also, attending um, the spiritist group meetings or studies like this one today helps us helps certainly, especially because of the what we can call renewal of energy that is in the spiritist house or in the spiritist environment. And when we attend a talk, it helps us to turn off that emotion of the present world. And also, we renew ourselves through the healing that happens even through lives like this one. So we do our initial prayer, we do our final prayer, we elevate our thoughts, and we break from what we were worrying about, from what we were sad about, and we start to remember things that spiritism have to teach us and to say to us. So it's important to be in contact with it all the time, because life happens and a lot of things happen. We end up forgetting those things. We end up so immersed in the situation that we have that we actually, even for us that study spiritism, and even for me that I'm here today talking to you about those things, I'm not like I'm like you guys. I'm not protected from anything. I am as human as I can be, and I'm going through my own process and learning things. So um, if I don't release myself, and if I don't do my readings and my studies and try and push myself to be in contact with it all the time, not that is a burden, um, but sometimes we can think, I don't have time for it now, I have to do other things. And we end up in this circle, in this cycle that actually doesn't really help us much. So being in these groups in lives like that, or even reading at home or watching to a YouTube video about some guy that you like that talks about spiritism and that you understand, helps a lot. So also doing kindness is also something that is important. Um, and it also help us develop those coping mechanisms. So whatever we do in life, whatever work we produce, however much money we make, we cannot be fully happy until we know that someone else needs us, that someone else depends on our accomplishments or on the love that we have to share. And doing something with someone else in mind can carry you through the toughest times. You will know the why for your existence, and you'll be able to bear almost anyhow, almost anything. This could be volunteering to shop for an elderly, or donating to a charity, or it could be sharing this knowledge that you gain today with other people, especially those who need it the most. So any kind of any type of no, any act of kindness that you can do will help not only the other person but also yourself. It puts you in perspective. Then also, prayer helps for sure, because it takes you out of the cycle of confusion and brings you to a vertical connection. It takes you from the horizontality of the problem and puts you in contact with the higher power. So when we learn to pray daily, our anxieties are submitted to God, and we learn to make this so that the answer comes from a place that is not ours, because ours is always partial, incomplete, and often mistaken. We will find solution in transcendence, and this solution in transcendence helps us to develop the human faith as it says in the gospel. So you learn to trust in yourself, to trust in others, and the divine faith, which is to trust in God, who is taking care of the boat, however drifting it can seem. And speaking of trust, God does not place heavy burdens on weak shoulders. That is, He does not put or it does not put us into greater difficulties and sufferings than we can bear. The burden is proportional to our strength, just as the reward will be in accordance with our resignation and courage. We just need to trust God, have faith, and look for it all the time. We use God very little, actually, and this is something that I learned for myself, because I know that sometimes I'm praying and I'm asking for help, and I'm asking the spiritual friends um, to help me go through a moment, or to help me find a solution for a problem. But they actually, what they can do is very limited, and they, a lot of times, especially with so much going on, and so many people actually in more difficult situations than me even. So they're very busy, um, really. But God, no, God is all powerful, and God is free, and it's available 24/7. Almost like, the internet. It's online, um, all the time, for each one of us exclusively. So we don't need to worry that God is busy, that God is solving all the problems that is worse than ours, or anything like that. We can just reach out to Him, no matter what your problem is. If you want to talk to Him, He's there, or to it, it's there. It's there for you all the time. So perhaps we perceive God as being too far away from us, and sometimes we want to solve things on our own, and we don't allow God to solve them for us. But there are a lot of things that we simply can't solve. And again, as I said, there's so much going on. It's outside of our powers. So we need to take our problems to Him, and really trust that everything is under control, that He has or it has everything under control. Now, I just wanted to end with this reading from the Gospel according to Spiritism again, and page 374, item 6. 374. And this chapter, this item in the chapter The chapter is called Seek and You Will Find, or You Shall Find. And this specific item is called Observe the Birds in the Sky. And it says, do not accumulate treasures on the earth, where rust and worms corrupt them, and where thieves unbury and steal them, but create treasures in heaven, where neither rust nor worms corrupt, for wherever your treasure is, there's your heart also. Thus I say to you, do not be anxious about where you find something to eat, for the sustenance of your life, or where you will get clothes to cover your body. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothing? Observe the birds in the sky. They neither sow nor reap, nor do they store anything in barns, but your heavenly Father feeds them. And are you not worth much more than they? And who among you will all with all his effort can increase his stature by 1 cubit? Moreover, why are you anxious about clothing? Observe how the lilies of the fields grow. They neither work or spin. Nevertheless, I declare to you that Solomon himself, in all his glory, was ever dressed like one of them. Thus, if God has taken care to clothe in such a manner an herb in the field, which exists today, and tomorrow will be cast into the fire, how much more care will he take in clothing you, all men of little faith? Therefore, do not be anxious, saying, what will we eat, or what will we drink, or what will we wear? As to the pagans who seek after all these things, because your Father knows what you need. Therefore, seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you in abundance. So do not be anxious for tomorrow will take care of itself. Each day has enough evil of its own. And it's actually from Matthew, from the Bible, Matthew, item 6, verse 19 to 34. And with it, I want to end today. I hope it was helpful. Let me see if you guys have any questions. I can see some comments here. Thank you so much, Guilherme, for your comments. And Guilherme said it's just the moment we are going through, just situations. And he says, I feel many things going through at the same time, or going on. When we feel victim of the world, you won't see what you need to change inside of yourself. Yes, the present creates the future. The problems just come from us, for us, to grow spiritually as friend, family, couple. Spiritism comes to light our path, to warm our hearts. We need to allow God to take over our lives. So that is very true, Guilherme. That's what I think as well. I think, as I said, we need to trust God more, and put everything in its hands, because we have limited power, but He doesn't. So we need to rely on it much more, really. So I think I hope it was helpful, guys, as I said, and I just had some I just put some websites here. If you guys are having any problems and if you want to talk to somebody, there is this website, yourmentalhealth.ie, that you can go and there are a lot of resources there. There's also the Irish Council for Psychotherapy, which is psychotherapycouncil.ie, the Samaritans, samaritans.org. You can call them. I believe this number is only in Ireland, but the Samaritans are all over the world, so you can find the phone in your locality. And I want to thank you guys very much for being here today. Let's do our final prayer. Actually, before we do our final prayer, just to say to you guys that we are still doing our lives because we are looking for a place for our public meetings. So when we have our new place, we are going to advertise. We are going to talk to you guys about it. So hopefully it will be very soon. But for now, our activities here are, we have our lives as this one every Sunday from 11:15, and it's from 11:15. I was late today, I'm sorry. But from 11:15 until 12. We also have our lives every Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's from 8, if I am not mistaken. Actually, let me just check. Let me just see. I believe it's from 8, but if I am not correct, I don't know why I forgot it today. So yeah, I'll tell you guys the time in a minute. And also we have every Tuesday as well, we have our healing. It's a live healing, and it is from our YouTube page and our Facebook page. Actually, I think it's only from YouTube, but you can see the link in our Facebook page. And it's at 11:30. The healing. It's every Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. on YouTube. Every Tuesday, 8:30 p.m. on YouTube. Our talk shows, as I was saying, is every Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7:15 p.m. We also have our study groups every Wednesday. And then the study groups is from 8 to 9, but these study groups is not in form of lives like we do the talk shows or the public meetings. So if you want to participate in the study groups, you need to send us an email. So our Facebook page is Spiritist Society of Ireland. Our email is spiritismisland@gmail.com. So you can just get in touch with us, and we are going to send you all the instructions for you to participate. And I think that was it. My bibliography today was mainly the Spirit's book and some websites. No, sorry, not the Spirit's book, the Gospel According to Spiritism, and some websites. The HSC website and the World Health Organization. Now, let's do our final prayer. If you guys can or want to close your eyes, let's just again take a deep breath. Let's raise our thoughts to Jesus, to God, and to our mentors, and thank them for this opportunity to learn that we had this morning. Let's thank them for everything that we have in our lives, even the problems that we are going through. We know that they are difficult, but they exist for a reason, and we want to be able to go through them, to overcome them, And Spiritism is helping us. So hopefully we have taken something from this talk today, and we will apply on our daily lives. Let's ask for everyone in the world today that is in need of any kind of help, be it material or not. Let's raise our thoughts to these people today, and let's, with all the love that we have in our hearts, send them this good vibration. Send them our thoughts, and let's, in this wave of love and good feelings and good intentions, pray for God to help all of us anywhere we are. We are in our trajectory to become perfect, to become more evolved, but we all have our battles to face, our learnings, our difficulties, some more than others. But if we were perfect, we wouldn't be here. So let's ask for God to help all of us, the one of the ones that are in the hospital, the ones that are in the streets, the ones that are in places of conflict, the ones that are broken-hearted, the ones that are alone. So all the ones, dear God, that for some reason don't rely their problems on you, and don't find that you are the source, because we know that you are connected to us regardless of us being connected to you or not, and you're always looking for us. So we hope that we will all understand it in the future, and that we'll all be able to reach out to you and trust in you one day. So be it. Okay, so that was it from me today. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for participating. And have a great Sunday. Bye.